Okay, how we doing? Friday, May 27th, 2016, here on the Rich Van Tassel channel. We woke up, got a little bit of news. Now, the first thing is the Mike D'Antoni hiring of the Houston Rockets head coach. We're going to do a video for that later because we got two things today. Right now, we're talking about Art Briles and this entire situation that's going on at the University of Baylor. Essentially, what's going down is that women were being basically raped, and the administration was, and people in the athletic department were essentially telling them not to come forward. They were discouraging them from, or they were being raped by members of the football team, and that's when the athletic department stepped in and said, don't report it, don't do anything. Basically trying to do anything they could to sweep it under the rug. And now they promoted their defensive coordinator, which doesn't make much sense to me if all this stuff was going down. Why would you hire someone within house? Well, it's really become a very strange situation. A lot's gone on with Baylor, of course. I mean, they mentioned this maybe last week. I had even forgotten about the guy who got murdered there, a few weeks ago. Or not a few weeks ago, a couple years ago when that was. He was a basketball player killed by his teammate. Now there's talk about the death penalty. For those of you who don't know what the death penalty is, that means they stop playing football for at least a season. They did it at Southern Methodist University, also in Texas, back in the 80s. But what I'm most disappointed of here is that ESPN is now covering this, and they really were not doing much of anything during the entire time this was happening. Yeah, there was some mention of it, but you want to talk about what's going down. The fact that they are, not on top of this was really surprising to me, or not. See, it's weird. It shouldn't be surprising to me because of the fact that they just let anything go with Penn State. I mean, it's been coming out, like I said, I did a video on it not long ago. It had been coming out that, Joe Paterno knew about what was going on there back in the 70s, and, there was barely a mention of it. What Joe Paterno knew going on in the 70s in Penn State, Jerry Sandusky raping little kids. You couldn't find anything ESPN talking about that. And that's, such a big issue. Now, ESPN is all about, I guess the feminist agenda, for lack of a better term. They are all over Greg Horty still to this day because he and his girlfriend, who was on drugs, it looks like, roughed each other up. I don't excuse Greg Horty again, but, you could talk about that until rapture, because that's the domestic violence, and oh my goodness, that has to be the biggest thing ever when things are some two grown adults, getting on a physical altercation, and oh my goodness, what, the world's coming to an end, oh my god, Greg Horty, we got to talk about him all the time, how can the team ever sign him? Yeah, when this is going on at Baylor University, women are being raped, and ESPN doesn't say, they're raping women. The football team are raping, sexually assaulting women. The administration is saying, don't do anything. Don't report this. Blah blah blah. We're not going to take you seriously. This, that, and the other thing. And you don't hear anything about it until they finally fire the head coach. They're not even holding anyone in the athletic department accountable for it. And when I say athletic department, I mean those in the athletic administration above Art Briles, who was the head coach, the presidents or the athletic director, or the quality control, whatever the positions are, football quality control, whatever it is. No one can say word one about that. So it's, I don't get how ESPN still has any credibility anymore. Again, Greg Horty shouldn't have done it. Domestic violence is bad, but still, these were two grown adults in a situation, and she was likely on drugs there in his home, unwelcomed, and yet nothing. Greg Horty can't, sneeze without without backlash. He tries to help himself. He tries to get help. He tries to be a better person. Takes anger management classes. He still gets creamed for that. But Baylor, for this has been going on. They were showing it since at least August, and I think it's been going back to about 2014. We're talking about 1.5, 2 years of people just getting sexually assaulted on the Baylor campus, and ESPN doesn't say a word about it until the head coach gets fired. So, just wanted to do that little rant. Again, ESPN it's really just disgusting at this point, but that is what it is. And that doesn't even mention all the things that went on with Joe Paterno when it came out not long ago that he knew about it. But hey, in today's day and age, they probably won't. I hate to say it, folks, but pedophilia isn't even frowned upon anymore. I saw something, I guess it was Salon had a pedophile on their thing saying that, talking about how he fantasizes, and by fantasizes, you know what I'm talking about, over pictures of little girls. It was actually quite horrific to watch. This was maybe last week, but you never know in today's day and age with the things leftists will push, and ESPN is certainly a leftist organization. So you don't hear anything about pedophilia being covered up. You don't hear anything about women being raped on campus, but Greg Hardy gets in a physical altercation with his drugged up girlfriend, and you'll never hear the end of it. So I had to do that rant. We'll talk about Mike D'Antoni being hired as head coach in a little bit. That'll probably be the only 2 videos this morning, and of course we got tonight's Game 6 between the Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Remember, we always appreciate subscriptions, so if you were to do that, I'd thank that very much and appreciate that very much. So we'll see you in a little bit. Have a good one.